Another video where I look at stocks that I may add to my list of tickers that I'm going to watch for trading options, specifically cash secured puts and cover calls. Today we're looking at NVIDIA. I think most people know what NVIDIA is, but actually back 15 years ago, I knew of NVIDIA as mainly being maker of video cards for, especially for gaming PCs. My background is tech. I taught technology at a high school career center and college for several years. And every kid that went through my class knew what NVIDIA was because they always wanted the best and latest and greatest video cards for their gaming PCs. When NVIDIA got to the chip making for data center and cloud, I was sort of like left behind a little bit. I thought to myself, like, why is NVIDIA stock going crazy? How many people are playing video games? And then I kind of looked a little closer and then realized, oh, I see. So moving on, what I do in these videos is do a quick look. It's not a deep dive. I don't look at years and years of financial records and do a forensic audit of the company. I just kind of do a quick overview, a high level look to see if it's something I want to add to my list of tickers that I might consider trading options on. This is not a trade alert. And we jump to this next slide here, down here. It's not financial advice either, but if you would subscribe, that'd be great. That's all I'll say about that. So I look at just some basic things. Step one, revenue, earnings, established company. Am I okay owning these shares? Meaning if I sell cash card put and get a sign, am I going to lose sleep over it and be sad and wish I never sold the cash card put and go post on Facebook groups how I'm assigned shares and now I don't know how to get rid of them? Step two, what are the professionals saying? The analyst, are they saying buy and hold? Any red flags? And third column here, is there enough people trading these options that makes it worthwhile? You can't sell an option if nobody's on the other side buying it. So these are the things I'm kind of looking at. Okay, so I got the chart popped open here. You see NVIDIA here, $190 approximately. This is a 6-month chart. If you look for the past 6 months, it's kind of gone a little bit sideways and a little bit up with some peaks in here. But from the beginning, it was 166 and it's about 191. So it has gone up quite a bit the last week or so. Maybe about a week and a half ago, it was around 180 or so. And then before that was down to 171. So it is going up a little bit, but mostly sideways. If I go back a year, we had the dip here in April. And then since then it's been climbing and then kind of leveling out. So that's where it's been. Now click on the analysis tab here. And just doing a quick review here, you can see that it's exceeded earnings for the past 4 quarters. And the earnings will be reported here in about a month from now. And here are the quarterly earnings. Again, you see the revenue about 40 billion, and here the earnings are about 20 billion. What I find interesting here, compared to a lot of other companies like Amazon, for example, you'll see revenue like at 40 billion in earnings way down here, let's say like at 4 billion. Now, I don't know if that's exactly what Amazon is, but what I'm saying is that NVIDIA's earnings are about half of what their revenue is. So I don't see many companies like that. If I click on annual here, you can see that it's kind of been staying that way since 2022, and it's been making money all along. I don't see any losing years or any losing quarters in here anywhere. So it's passed that test so far. Let's see what the analysts are saying. So scroll on here, the analyst recommendations. You got like 64 ratings here, looking at January. 12 strong buys, 48 buys, and a few holds. And then I can't tell if this is a sell or underperform. It doesn't really matter. It's not like there's an overwhelming amount of people who aren't NVIDIA fans, but there are a couple, it looks like. If you look at the total, 64, you got 48 plus 12, that's 60. So it looks like there must be 3 hold and 1 of the sell or underperform. The other thing I like to look at is the price target. So the consensus price target for NVIDIA is $253 and it's currently at 191. So that's what, about 25% less right now than what the analyst target has it. In my opinion, I would probably be fine doing cash secured puts on this for somewhere 5 to 10% below the 253. So let's just say 220, somewhere in the middle here. That gives me a lot of wiggle room here to still be comfortable. So what I'm saying here is if I did a cash secured put, let's say for 185 and the price went down to 180, I'm not going to freak out and lose sleep knowing that all these analysts are projecting that the price could go to $253. And if I want to make myself feel even more better, I can scroll down here and look at some of these price targets of some of these analysts here. Here we got one for 320. So what I could do to make myself feel better is just kind of cling on to this analyst here and go around telling people I expect NVIDIA to get to $320 and then everything will be fine. I'm just kind of joking here so people know. But anyhow, I think I'm good here. And you see all these ratings here. You can look through all of them if you wanted to and just tell you what these are: outperformed by, overweight. I do have this little list here that tells me what each of these means. So basically anything green, outperform, overweight is usually good, meaning that I can add those to my watch list without being too concerned. So the next thing I need to ask myself is there enough option activity to feel comfortable trading options on NVIDIA? So let's take a look at that. Okay, I got Fidelity up. I got the NVIDIA ticker in here. And let's just look at the monthly expirations. But first, let's talk about something real quick. They just recently start adding, I think it's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, option expiration dates to the Mag 7. So the Mag 7 is NVIDIA, Amazon, Meta, Google, Apple, Microsoft, and Tesla. I think I got them all. So you could trade those options basically every other day of the week if you want to. I don't really need to, but let's scroll down here. So you got 191. So we need to get down here to what, 191 approximately. So we're looking at thousands of options here. This is for January 30th, which is the expiration in just a couple of days. Let's look at the monthly here for February 20th. That's the next monthly expiration date. And if I scroll down, you can see basically tens of thousands. So yes, no problem here. But let's look at something just a little bit different here. And we're going to look at the leverage ETFs. So one is NVDL. Let's look at that one. And let's see if there's any weekly. There actually are weekly options. And let's quickly scroll down. So the NVDL is trading for $91. And that's double leverage. So like I tell people in every video that I talk about double leverage or triple leverage, if NVIDIA goes up 1%, this go up 2%. The same way if it goes down 1%, it goes down 2%. If you already know that, I apologize. But these videos are mostly intended for beginners. So without looking too deep, I can see like the 75 strike price, there's 1,000. So I look at the open interest and try to see if there's at least 500 in this column here. And there is. If I scroll down here, there's 1,500 here. So I feel pretty comfortable with that. Click this toggle and just look at the monthly expiration. So we're looking at February 20th. Let's see what the volume is here. As I get down here closer to the actual price, 75 strike price, 1,200. And I don't need to look too much deeper. There's plenty of action here too. So the NVIDIA double leverage is one that would be fine. And if you got a smaller account, that means for about a $9,000 or $9,100, you can sell cash secured put using NVDL. However, what if you have an even smaller account? For example, we are starting to trade some options in my granddaughter's account, and she has about $4,500 in there, and we couldn't do anything like this. She doesn't have enough money. So a lot of these more popular stocks have a couple double leverage ETFs that track them. So another one is the Rex shares NVDX. So that one's trading for $17.76 per share. And they have weekly options. If I leave it right here, it's on puts already. I scroll down and there's enough to make me happy that I would be comfortable trading options here. And you see these premiums don't look very much, but if you punch those into a calculator, it's equivalent to the other double leverage ETF that we just got looking at as far as returns based on the amount of money you invest. And let's look at the monthly February 20th. If I scroll down here, you see there's not as much, but there's still enough to probably trade. So in case you're wondering, this column here, open interest, is like the total contracts volume gets reset daily. So I'm doing this in the evening. So tomorrow morning, this would probably be starting back to zero. And I do think that these numbers are a bit misleading. I always feel like there's more options floating around than what is shown in this column here, but I have no proof of that, and I don't know for sure. But I just feel in my heart that there are. So those are just a couple of different choices you can use besides the actual stock itself, trading options, which there's lots and lots of volume on that. But these double leverage ones, you might be interested in too. However, this is not financial advice. I'm not saying to use those. I'm just telling you there's choices. So jumping back here to my report card, you might say, I give this a green check mark for everything. And even the option liquidity, even those double leverage option choices that I showed you, I want to say options, but it's confusing. So those option choices, I give everything green check marks. And I'm so confident that this is probably a good choice or an acceptable choice or an acceptable ticker that I can tell you that I actually sell cash secured puts, NVDL. That's the double leverage one that was like $91. And actually for the past 2 or 3 months, I've been selling a cash secured put every week, actually 4 or 5 of them every week for the past 2 months, and doing okay with it. Not a recommendation, it's just something I'm doing. If you like this type of thing, go ahead and subscribe, and remember, it's not advice, it's entertainment.